Psychology textbook. Psychological science.
Did you know that psychological research helps us understand how to improve the quality of human lives?
Really? How does it do that?
Psychologists study human and animal behavior to understand problems like learning and memory, psychological disorders, and aggressive behavior.
That's interesting. What are some examples of how psychological research is used in everyday life?
It guides court rulings with respect to racism and sexism, as well as court procedure in the use of lie detectors during criminal trials. It also helps us understand how driver behavior affects safety and which methods of educating children are most effective.
Wow, I had no idea. Is all psychological research the same?
No, there are two types of psychological research: basic research and applied research. Basic research answers fundamental questions about behavior, while applied research investigates issues that have implications for everyday life and provides solutions to everyday problems.
That's a great way to approach research. Do they inform each other?
Yes, advances in science occur more rapidly when each type of research is conducted. For instance, basic research about memory for lists of words could potentially be applied to help children learn to read.
I see. Where can we find the results of psychological research?
The results of psychological research are reported primarily in research articles published in scientific journals, and most of these papers are readily available online through your college or university library. Psychologists use the scientific method to guide their research. The psychologists believe that research is the best tool for understanding human beings and their relationships with others.
How do they conduct their research?
Psychologists use the scientific method, which is a set of assumptions, rules, and procedures scientists use to conduct research.
What are the benefits of using the scientific method?
The scientific method ensures that research is empirical, objective, and transparent. This means that other scientists can replicate, add to, or modify previous research findings, resulting in an accumulation of scientific knowledge.
Can you give an example of how psychologists use the scientific method?
Sure, instead of accepting a politician's contention that creating a new center for mental health will improve the lives of individuals in the inner city, a psychologist would empirically assess the effects of receiving mental health treatment on the quality of life of the recipients.
That's interesting. So, the scientific method is essential in psychology research?
Yes, it is. The scientific method ensures that research is based on systematic collection and analysis of data, making it more reliable and objective. Laws and theories as organizing principles. Laws and theories are essential in organizing information into meaningful statements that can be applied in many situations.
I read that laws are very general principles and their validity has already been well established. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. Laws are so general as to apply to all situations in a given domain of inquiry.
What about theories?
Theories are an integrated set of principles that explains and predicts many, but not all, observed relationships within a given domain of inquiry. They are the next step down from laws in the hierarchy of organizing principles.
What are the characteristics of good theories?
Good theories are general, parsimonious, provide ideas for future research, and are falsifiable. They can be adequately measured, and the relationships between the variables that are predicted by the theory can be shown through research to be incorrect.
That's interesting. Can you give an example of a good theory in psychology?
Sure. The stage theory of cognitive development proposed by Jean Piaget is an important theory in psychology. It explains how children pass through a series of cognitive stages as they grow, each of which must be mastered in succession before movement to the next cognitive stage can occur.
Wow, I had no idea. What's the importance of theories in research?
Theories are essential in organizing and explaining observed relationships within a given domain of inquiry. They also provide ideas for future research and help in the accumulation of scientific knowledge.
The research hypothesis.
A research hypothesis, a specific and falsifiable prediction about the relationship between two or more variables.
That's right. It's used as the basis for research to test a theory. Is a variable any attribute that can assume different values among different people or across different times or places?
Yes, and a research hypothesis states the existence of a relationship between the variables of interest and the specific direction of that relationship.
The conceptual variables are abstract ideas that form the basis of research hypotheses. Can you give an example of a conceptual variable?
Sure, anxiety is a conceptual variable. It's a complex idea that needs to be turned into a measured variable.
That's a great example. So, how do psychologists turn conceptual variables into measured variables?
They use operational definitions to refer to a precise statement of how a conceptual variable is turned into a measured variable.
I see. Can you give an example of an operational definition?
Sure, the conceptual variable participating in psychotherapy could be represented as the measured variable number of psychotherapy hours the patient has accrued.
Wow, that makes sense. So, why is it important to use operational definitions?
Using operational definitions ensures that the collected data is specific and replicable, which is essential in psychological research.
Conducting ethical research.
Ethics of research is a crucial aspect of conducting research.
Psychologists may induce stress, anxiety, or negative moods in their participants, expose them to weak electrical shocks, or convince them to behave in ways that violate their moral standards. Isn't that harmful?
It can be, but decisions about whether research is ethical are made using established ethical codes developed by scientific organizations and governments.
What are the characteristics of an ethical research project using human participants?
Trust and positive rapport are created between the researcher and the participant. The rights of both the experimenter and participant are considered, and the relationship between them is mutually beneficial. Before the research begins, the participant is given all information relevant to his or her decision to participate, including any possibilities of physical danger or psychological stress.